both coaches didn't give me a lot, I'm not going to lie.
What did they say?
So I basically asked them about they got the 5 sets twice, like where you had success. And Alex said, he didn't really give us anything. He said like, this is more than a good power game, we could compete. Month off, Albert, he just went, kind of had some time off then, video and then 5 sessions this week, kind of skirmishing internally again. And then key smart decisions. And Polonia kind of learned that Essex deep, they can change things
said it was Matthew
Yeah.
Sinov. I still don't understand it.
Matthew Sinos.
Matthew Sinov.
Yeah.
Olaf Matthew Sinov.
Cool.
Obviously, you know the ins and outs of the teams a little bit better than I do. So I'm just
No,
happy to
not on
jump.
the men's side.
No.
Nope. I did no prep for the men. Oh, they changed their starting lib. Or they changed numbers. Oh, wrong team.
No, Essex have, I think. I think they changed.
I think Essex should be Good afternoon and welcome back to the National Volleyball Centre here in Kettering for Final Four action. And having just seen the first women's semi-final, it's now the turn of the men. IBB Polonia versus the Essex Rebels. Mike Hunter-Morris and Luke Wiltshire on the call for this one. And Luke, exciting game, match-up. These two teams met 3 times in the regular season, including the Cup. 2 of them went to 5 sets.
I think we're going to be in for a classic here. Polonia obviously will be disappointed that they lost to Essex in the Cup quarter-final. I think both teams have got strengths that the other team are going to look to try and capitalise on. So it's going to be a good, tough match. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, indeed. In that Cup game, that was back in January, Essex came out 3-2 winners. It was 19-17 in the 5th set. And then just a week later, Polonia bounced back in the league 3-0, winning it 25-20, 25-21 and 27-25. But then when the two sides matched up again in March, it went all the way down to the wire, and Polonia squeaked a 5th set 15-13 on their way to a 17-1 league record. They're coming in to this Final Four as strong favourites. And Luke, there's a lot to like about this Polonia team. Deep, versatile, and you never quite know what to expect because they can just have so much variety in the offense.
Yeah, and I think, again, like we said with the ladies' games, there's so much depth in this Polonia squad that I won't be surprised if we see some different things as the game goes on and the game develops. We might see both coaches making some decisions, change it up slightly. Polonia obviously are that well-established club. You know, they've won this league before. Essex haven't done yet, so you know it's very much Essex are the underdogs here. But you know, sometimes in these sorts of games, the pressure will be on Polonia, and I'm really looking forward to this game. Yeah,
Polonia 7-time league champions, but kind of on a dry spell, haven't made the top 2 since 2020. So for them, it's kind of a big weekend to just try and put your stamp back on a league you've been so dominant with for so many years.
Yeah, we see it in volleyball history in this country. You know, a team dominates for a long time. For a long time, that was Mallory for many, many years. If you look back at the honour board, and Polonia were there. They won the league, or they won the league four out of 5 times between 2016 and 2020, and coming second in 2018. So, like you said, they're going to look to try and take this title this season, and it's this is going to be a really entertaining match.
And obviously for Essex, coming in 11-7 record, fairly comfortable in making the top 4, but for them they've had some ups and downs, but with a fairly new established group, they have kind of made some strides during the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
As both teams about to get introduced, and that Essex record, what's really interesting is they've managed to take sets off all the teams in the Final Four. That was different from what we saw with the women, so they've got a little bit of confidence coming in.
Yeah, and I think knowing that they've beat them before, you know, that's going to really help Essex get into this game. Yes, they're 4th and Polonia were 1st, but Essex will know that they've taken a game off this team before. They'll just have to recall what did they do well in that game, what worked for them. Again, it will be service pressure. Both teams have some strong middle hits, so we'll want to see what happens out of system. We'll want to see what both teams can do when that pass isn't quite there. And I think it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a really entertaining game.
As our referees just get introduced for this game, Anna Juska and Katerina Kapinova will take the whistle for this one. And interesting, I caught up with Alex Porter, head coach of Essex, before this, and he said a lot of it is about confidence has built from kind of going through that system. But he also said at the start of the year, this Polonia team always had an air of invincibility about them. But now it's kind of for them, they've recognised anything is possible, and they go in feeling that if they play their game, they have a chance to knock them off.
Yeah, absolutely.
As both teams about to get introduced here to the Volleyball Centre in Kettering, as we see the Polonia starters get that introduction. And Luke, hard to pick one player in particular, but if you want to highlight someone in this pre-game, where does your mind go to?
I mean, Stoyev is obviously a very, very established player in this league. He's got the experience, he knows what to do and when to do it. Be interesting to see. And Ephraim Mills, obviously in the middle, if we can get them running for Polonia, I think they're the 2 players for me to watch out for.
As that is your IBB Polonia team for this afternoon's game. And now the introduction to the Essex Rebels. And again, with Essex, a lot of imports come in, obviously strong university programme at Essex, so one in, one out, and obviously really it's hard to look past the UCLA grad in Carl von Steeg on the opposite position, who's really had some big moments for them throughout the year.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to seeing William Raglan play. He's one of the top servers, most aces at 24 this season, so I think we're in for a treat when we see him go back to the service line. That might put Polonia under pressure early on, so yeah, going to be a very tough game to call. Yeah,
and obviously Essex probably won't go as deep, but one of the things when I caught up with Emil Stoev before the game was he said in times, I guess, especially against Polonia with both 5 sets, they've kind of seen Essex have some sneaky depth, and it's something they've kind of talked about in their system. But the key for Polonia, serve, receive, and interesting that Polonia won the toss and chose to serve first and just try and get an early in-system play out, having had a month off to prep.
Yeah, absolutely.
As it will be Ephraim Mills, the middle, to head back to the service line for Polonia, and he'll get the opening serve underway. He's the only player on this Polonia team with more aces than errors on serve, and he's serving an actually 92%, so we don't see many errors from Mills, so it'll be a nice solid server to get underway.
Obviously a good choice there from the coach to put him at the service line first, see if they can get a good strong start. So important in the game of volleyball.
As we are about to get underway, the first men's semi-final, chance to advance to the championship game tomorrow. And Essex going to put a short swing on it. Good adjustment there by William Ragland, because it wasn't a great serve receive.
No, out of system, completely out of system. It was a bit of a something of nothing ball really, and he just put the ball into that deep into that corner.
As you see, 81% of you favouring Polonia in this semi-final. We'll see how that matches up as Ewan Fraser back to serve, and an immediately good start by the Rebels.
Yeah, Polonia will try and establish that middle early. That's a really important part of the game in this level. Got to get that middle established early, so it makes the outside hitters and opposite have a much easier game.
Fraser hit and miss on his serves, but gets another one down the line. They'll go into the back, and Stoev will finish off the block.
Yeah, what I like there is he passed the ball and he got out straight away, ready to hit. He was in rhythm, he was in tempo, swinging nice and high, taking on the block.
Apologies, that was Piero Muller, sorry, rather than Stoev on the outside. As Essex trying to set for the back court, but good defense by Polonia, and Stoev again.
Yeah, that would be
finishes.
Cool. That would be called as a lift. You could just see him watch the ball dribble down the net and think, oh, I can play this, and unfortunately he just had his hand open and carried that ball in the eyes of the referee.
As the Italian setter Diego Tamburini will head back. The most aces on this Polonia side, probably almost unexpected, but really accurate as a misplay by Ianu, and Polonia have the free ball. And Essex again doing a terrific job defensively, going to stay in this rally. As again the reverse set, this time couldn't quite get it. Von Steeg was looking for the touch on the return, but too strong box by Essex, and they have a little bit of confidence despite not winning the point.
Yeah, Polonia were not happy that a carry wasn't called, but they did well, stayed disciplined to win the point. Nice hitting from the opposite player there.
As again Essex going middle early, good defence by Muller in the backcourt. Roll over, and Ianu gets it to it well, but the lefty spike by Von Steeg.
Let's watch that one again. You'll just see that with a lefty outside hitter, it's a different dynamic, and the blocker went way too wide and allowed him to hit the ball cross court really hard. Great shot.
And Von Steeg known for kind of mixing it up, going cross court, but also someone that can go down the line from that position. So solo block as the serve well long that time by the Rebels. As it was shooting time, and trying again, he's kind of one of those risky servers, he'll go all out for the ace, but those errors can creep into his game. Has the most errors on the serve on this Rebel side as Stoev goes off pace. But Essex set, and again
Huge
able
swing.
to get the solo block, and how important is that?
Yeah, again, good setting speed there. Meant that the outside hitter Ragland only had one blocker against him, and he really hit that ball hard down the line.
So Andrew Wood back to serve. Again, a consistent off-speed float server for Essex as they go middle, and a really nice adjustment by Atticus there.
Yeah, Polonia will want to establish this middle nice and early. So far, they've not crunched the ball. You know, they've not put a ball away from the middle position, but they've definitely said it a few times.
So having won the point, Atticus back to serve. Well handled by Essex. And Vom Steeg trying to go cross court. Good block by Muller. Schattenheim again, can't quite get the kill, this time off the net.
He's missed it.
No touch, and Rebels will tie it up at 5 points apiece early on in set number 1.
What I really liked there was Atticus played some great defence, you know, as a middle blocker, serving at the service line, then coming on and played defence. We don't see that, and he made a great decision there.
Vom Steeg, who missed some games through with Essex, trying to go power, but too long on the serve.
2 service errors in a row, but Essex will know that they have to be aggressive in their serving strategy. Sticking a ball over, giving Polonia a nice easy serve is the equivalent of giving them a free ball. So they're going to go for their serves.
As Bentiti, the Algerian, goes back to serve there on the defense. Ball's going to be kept alive, and a great attempt to keep the ball in, but didn't quite pan out for Polonia. And Essex serve receiver's done a pretty good job holding up early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't always have to be perfect, that pass in, it just has to be playable.
Stoev with a perfect pass, but setting time just off, and Essex will work on the free ball. Cross court, big swing by Schuttertimer.
Let's watch that again. Yeah, the middle was nowhere because, you know, the pass was there. The middle ran that second ball, a B ball, just making it easy for that outside player to have one-on-one.
Ragland finds the back corner. Muller ducked under it, but just enough topspin on it.
And he's had the most aces in this league, and he's showing why. I said at the start of the game, I'm really excited to see what he can do from the service line. Let's see what he's got here.
Yeah, 24 aces in the regular season. As a backcourt swing, and Vom Steeg couldn't quite handle it, but a really nice presence.
And from this angle, it looked like he was going to hit the ball down the line, and at the last minute, he just had a look over his shoulder, looked and see what was going on, and decided to hit the ball deep cross court.
As Essex going middle, but into the net goes Jefferson.
Stoyev sort of ducked then. He thought he was going to get the ball to the face because the set, but unfortunately into the net.
As Muller tries to go down the line, but another huge cross court by Schuttertimer, and that's his second big kill early on.
Yeah, I think that Polonia are trying to serve deep at 5 and take him out, but he's doing really well. He's handling the pressure, put a nice ball in, and again, able to run that offense at a second tempo and hitting the ball really well cross court. That looked like a foot fault to me. Yep, called by the line judge. Good job, line judges. But again, 3 service errors now. 3 jump servers and 3 service errors.
And of all the teams, as much as you don't want to have almost a free ball off the serve, giving Polonia cheap points, not the way to go either. So Essex got to really try and find that balance, but this time Polonia with the mistake. Mills finds the middle of the net. And we go back and forth in set number 1 here at Final 4. As huge reserve set, and again
What a great play. The setter did an absolutely awesome job there to fling the ball nearly at position 4 all the way back out to opposite. Left-hander, just able to read the ball really well, read the trajectory of the set and hit the ball very well cross-court.
Yeah, Ben TT able to get the kill as Essex again doing a good job. Backcourt.
Oh, very good, very good play. What an absolute spike there. He almost just appeared from nowhere. We watched that back. He just popped up over the top of the middle and put that ball straight down from the pipe position, which is becoming a huge part of the men's game.
Yeah, he's almost started off in position 1 as a server, so kind of the well-disguised moving from that camera left-hand side into the middle. As serve well handled by Ivanov, and the block leaks off. But again, Essex getting some strong hands to it, and they definitely caused some questions for the Polonia hitters early on in this game.
Reading the game well, I think Coach Porter's just telling his team to press on the block, get your hands over.
As Stoev, who's missed some time with injury, back to return, and a huge angle by Romsteeg to keep it within the 3-meter line.
It's almost the battle of the opposite left-handers. Both teams have that left-handed opposite. You know, and actually as an opposite player, you're not doing much passing. You know, you are that go-to hitter, and at the moment it's the battle of who's going to be the better opposite.
Float serve killed by Romsteeg on the overpass.
The net was moving there, but I think it was just the ball. I think he's done well.
Yeah, it was Muller on the outside, and it's a rare mistake by Muller. Best serve receiver on this Polonia team's serve receive rating of 2.4 and only 3 errors. So a very uncharacteristic mess, but he'll have a chance to have a swing at it, but goes against a double block. Again, the Essex front court doing a great job, but Muller on the single block kills it this time.
Yeah, much better block there from the Ragland, pushing his hands over the net, really sealing it.
As Adikus, the Lithuanian middle, will go back. One of the weaker servers on the Polonia team, but kind of forces a misplay. But Essex still able to find Romsteeg, and he is on fire.
They're just going to him at the moment, and who can blame them? He is on fire, like you say. He had 2 blockers against him, high ball. Maybe the blockers could have taken a bit more space, but take nothing away from that hit.
Romsteeg power down the middle, and an overpass by Stoev, and Essex starting to pull away by 3 early on, midway through this first set.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a timeout here, 3-point lead. He might let him have one more, and here comes the timeout. Yep, coach decides now is the right time.
They're gonna talk about it. I don't know if they'd call for the serve to happen, if they're gonna give it, but Polonia nearly missed that.
It's tricky as a coach. You want to leave it late. You know, you want to leave it late and upset the rhythm, the tempo of the game, but maybe a little bit too late there by the coach.
Yeah, referee's saying just about in time. They're going to talk it over, but for Essex, this is the confidence we talked about. You can see they're swinging with power a little bit freer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen variety in the Essex offense. We've had a pipe, we've had a few middles, we've had some quicker balls out to 4. Polonia are looking a little bit one-dimensional at the moment, but they'll build into this game. And as we said, service pressure is key from Essex, and yes, they've made a few mistakes, but the last couple of serves have been really tough, forcing Polonia out of system.
Indeed, and for Essex, it's about trying to get some momentum in this game. We saw how crucial set number 1 was in the women's game.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Essex leading 2019 and it all falling apart for the Rebels as side out advance 3-0 to the women's game. Stoev again having to be picked on the serve receive, but good use of the block by Ben TT. Middle couldn't quite get there in time.
Yeah, and the server there just, you know, they called a timeout on him, and he decided, you know what, I'll just put the ball in. He took a bit of pace off of it. Polonia put that good pass in, and ultimately that's why they won the point.
Big jump serve, well handled by Essex as Raglan couldn't quite get the kill. We'll have a time to try and keep it over, but pushed it wide of the antenna. And back-to-back points by Polonia brings to within 1.
Yeah, tried Engapeth there, tried a bit of a different shot because the set was outside of the aerial, but unfortunately not pulling off for him this time.
Ben TT goes and splits the gap between the libero and Vom Stegen. That's where you really need your libero and your leftist Ianu for Essex to command that ball.
Yeah, and what a response from the timeout. Coach called a timeout, they were 3 down. Now they've pulled it back to 15-0. Great service pressure again from Ben TT. That left-handed jump server, so hard to read as a passer. He served the last couple at 5, but then on the last one he served at 1. So I think Essex are just struggling to read this ball. The direction of the ball is completely different with a left-handed jump server. So good decision to take a timeout here by Essex to try and break up this service pattern.
Yeah, and it's that constant cross-court serve we've seen, and now the choice to go line, and that's probably what caught Ianu by surprise.
Yeah. I think here really the serving sort of option would be to serve at 5 to take out Raglan from the hit. But when you're so strong like Ben TT is at the service line, anywhere in court is going to be good.
Again,
off base.
Little float serve. Essex again running a really good middle decoy, and the kill by Ragland. And those middles are doing such a good job of holding the Polonia middles. Yeah. And that's where Essex have kind of had some success early on, is going to the outside, but on solo blocks as Ragland serves into the net.
Big point there.
And 16 apiece in set number 1. And that'll allow Piero Muller, the Swiss outside, to head back. Essex couldn't quite time it, looking for Jefferson, and Mills goes off the block.
Yep. Good, really good choice there. Free ball for Polonia. They haven't had many, and it was pretty obvious it was going to go to the middle, but he's so high up there that actually the speed, just swinging nice and high off the hands, great choice.
As this time the ball goes along, as Raglan looked to kill down the middle, but couldn't quite connect, and Polonia just starting to put the squeeze on as this set draws to a close.
Yeah, if he had swung a bit more angle there, it would have dropped in.
Essex again faking middle, but so low block Stoev.
Showing his experience there, just waited because it was an incredible set. But Stoyev was there. Stoyev was waiting for him.
And Alex Porter again going to talk it over. Polonia 6 of the last 7 points, if my memory stands corrected, and Polonia leading by 3. And for Essex, really it's about just that recomposure and finding some options.
Yeah, a couple of errors have come back into the Essex game. You know, no surprise that the setter's choosing to go to the opposite because he has been hot at the start of this set. But like I said in the last timeout, Polonia will start to read the game. Blocking is very, very strong for Polonia. And as we saw just then from Stoyev, doesn't always need two blockers. When you've got that experience in the team, he read the game, and an absolutely huge block at a really, really important moment.
And it's that veteran leadership as well. You can see how much he moved from the middle position across us.
I think the ref's going to be calling the captain over here because I think she's just saying a bit slow to come on court after the timeout. So that's a warning.
Yeah.
Very strong referee here, does a lot of the Super League.
And also part of the coaching staff for Polonia. So as much as you're talking to the captain, you're also talking to the coach as Muller goes down the line. As a rollover, but Stove able to get there from the opposite side. Backcourt set, Ben TT, Essex, Vom Steeg couldn't quite keep it up. And Polonia take a huge point out of the timeout, lead by 4.
Yeah. Ben TT is having a great game. He's getting a lot of ball at the moment and winning a lot of points out there at the opposite.
Ben TT does lead this Polonia side in kills, as this time Essex go middle. Finally that change, and Polonia nearly got there as Tamburini's trying to keep it in.
Yeah, Libro did well to play some defence then, but unfortunately just playing it a bit too tight to the net. Setter couldn't save it.
As float serve, well handled by Ivanov. El set, Mills in the middle. And not quite the best by Essex. Ivanov off the block again. It was Andrew Wood trying to get across from the middle position, but Essex again just struggling to break down this Polonia attack as it's grown later into the set. Just some really subtle adjustments by the league champions as Mills goes off speed. And this time the block is split by Schutterteimann. Yeah,
he's so high up there. He's got such a good jump, and he just chose the right shot there, which was to sort of hit in between the seam of the setter blocking and the middle. Really good choice.
So Essex needing to find a way to win a couple of points on serve, and the overpass will help. Referees not calling the touch, and the swing is long. And I think Essex thought Polonia overplayed on the overpass.
I think Alex Porter, Coach Porter from Essex, is really confused as what a net touch wasn't called.
In fact,
and it has.
Referee's going to talk over, and that's the really thing you can't quite notice. Both referees mic'd up and able to communicate with each other. Question was asked, and they talked about it and reversed the point, so Essex get the service point.
Yeah.
But they can't make it as Fraser goes into net, and that's the error rate from Fraser.
I think he looked a bit rushed there in the serve. You know, we get seconds to take your service, and as the whistle went, he was almost rushing his serve.
Fraser going to set for the pipe, and a touch off the block by Stoev.
Much better there because he hit angle in the last one, if you remember. He hit straight, and obviously as you hit angle, that court just opens up a little bit. So good choice by Raglan there.
So Schutterteimann, high leverage serve of Essex, risk reward. Stoev gets to play it, tips it into the block, and Ben TT goes line and puts it wide.
Yeah, he knew he had two big blockers up against him, and he just tried to roll it down the line. Fortunately, he missed this time, but I think that might be the first error we've seen from him so far in this set.
Yeah, and again, the presence of the Essex blocks really didn't leave much of an angle. As Ivanov, perfect pass. Ben TT goes tip. And this pipe hit straight into the net. And a missed opportunity to Rebels to tie it up.
And what an absolutely fantastic pass then by the libero. You know, in volleyball, it's often the hitters that get the credit, but a good pass like that from the Polonia libero means that they can run their offense.
As Stoev, the captain, back to serve. Reverse set, finds Von Stieg on the...
Yeah, right choice that time, hitting cross court, one blocker against him. Set was a little bit inside, and he thought, you know what, I'm going to hit this cross court and hard, and he did that very, very well.
As they go middle, Schutterteimann able to get a hand to it, but couldn't quite get it. And again, in big points, that's Polonia's bread and butter going to the middle.
Yep, Adikas with a good put away there. And he goes back to the service line now.
Yeah, so 2 set points for IBB Polonia. First one on serve. Great job by Fraser to get there, but puts it wide on the swing. And Polonia will take the opening set 25-22 over the Essex Rebels here in the National Volleyball Centre in Kettering. And for Essex, kind of just some missed opportunities at key times in that opening set.
Yeah, I think they'll be happy with their performance in the first set. Always going to be slightly nervous. Such a sort of an occasion, being in this final four here at the volleyball centre in Kettering. Polonia do have a lot of experience in their team.
And I think the interesting thing for Essex is they got a lot of solo opportunities on swings. Didn't quite get into the block. Polonia only with 3 blocks in that first set, which is something they're relatively strong at normally. So Essex has done a really good job distributing the offense, and that was something Alex Porter wanted, was to have smart hitting decisions, but Fraser did a really good job setting them up for that.
Yeah, I definitely feel, watching those two teams in that first set, that the Essex offense is a little bit more creative. Polonia, they know they've got these really strong hitters that they can stick a ball up to, and they'll put the ball away. But for me, the standout player in that set was Ben Titi. Hitting left-handed opposite, he won loads of points out there. And I think Essex will need to think about how can they take him out of the game. Maybe they need to think about their serving strategy here.
Indeed, and obviously at this stage in the season, everyone knows everyone quite well, and from volume on the Polonia side in terms of hitting, that's where they're going with Ben Titi. 408 attempts, and you next look at Andre Magia, who didn't play in that first set at 325, so really that's where the volume was always going to go. So Essex maybe got to make just a slight blocking adjustment and maybe shade towards Ben Titi and try and encourage the likes of Tamburini to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I think we might see a slight change in the serving strategy from Essex. I mean, one argument could be serve more at position 1. Try and take that sort of, it's very hard as a setter to get the ball from behind you and then go back to position 1. What I've been impressed with the Essex offense is, like I said, the variety. We've had some very quick balls out through 4. We've had a few pipes, some really good pipe attacks. I just think it's unforced errors from Essex at the moment.
As about to get underway in set number 2. Reminder, keep your thoughts coming in the comments section as well. We'll have a look at those during all Final Four long. And obviously, if you want to get involved on social media, use hashtag Final Four as well. Huge weekend here in Kettering. A nice changing dynamic, adding this to the calendar. As it'll be Essex to start in set number 2. Ewan Fraser, the setter, will get us underway as officials just checking everyone's in the right rotation.
Looks like both teams are staying with the same lineup in this set.
Yeah, and I think for Polonia, they're probably the team that we'd expect them to see the most changes from. Probably Ben Osborne will be the first option off the Essex bench as Fraser into the net. And again, Essex trying to find that balance between putting pressure on the Polonia serve receive and actually giving them free balls and errors, which we kind of creeped in set number 1. As Raglan struggled with the serve, so Vomstedt has to play it, but Essex doing a good job finding a hit, and now Fraser in system. But Stoev beats the block.
Yeah, the blockers there just left way too much line for him, and he seized the opportunity. An experienced player like Stoev, he's going to look at the block and make the decisions about where he's hitting the ball.
As Ianu takes command of the serve receive, Vomstedt couldn't quite put a great swing on it, and the block is split by Ben TT, and we're 3-0 Polonia.
I think the blocker there just went through his hands. Yeah, he's saying it as well. This serve from Mills is very effective, serving deep at 5.
Raglan, really good pass, so Essex trying to go middle, but Wood couldn't quite put a proper swing on it, and Stoev splits the block, but Fraser able to get there acrobatically to keep the ball alive, but Essex have to give up the free ball. Even off again, trying to play defense.
Polonia have come out on the start of this second set, all guns firing, taking an early 4-0 lead.
And again, Essex not just been able to find that tempo to be able to put a full swing on it early on in second set, and Alex Porter's got to be thinking about timeout here. As when you need a point, go to the person that's had the most success. Vom Steeg down the line, off the block.
Yeah, no surprise there. It's a bit of a mismatch in hitting against blocker. We've got the big lefty opposite for Essex hitting against the Polonia setter. So good choice to take on the hands and wipe off.
That's huge serve down the middle. Dealt with, and Vom Steeg on the rejection.
The block. Let's watch this again. 1-on-1, finishing into court. An absolutely huge block there.
And again, Essex have had some success with blocks, but it's not been blocks for kills until now. So Vom Steeg, the first solo block of the day. And again, Essex trying to go big with Schattentime this time, too much on it.
Notice that Schattentime got his shoulder heavily strapped up as well. So I wonder if he's experienced a small injury or some pain, but he's definitely not holding back at the service line.
As Tamburini back to position 1 for serve. Vom Steeg goes into the double.
This is becoming a blocking masterclass. Let's watch this again. Look at how they get so close to each other, sealing the block, creating a huge wall. Nowhere for the ball to go. Great block by Polonia.
As the serve into the net by Tamburini that time. And it's interesting with Fraser in the front court, it took away the option really, unless they were going to go pipe of the middle, and it just, that's what Essex maybe can get a little bit one-dimensional, relying on Vom Steeg and Ragland a lot. As this time the tip into the net, and kind of really on the setter that time, just not quite high enough to really give options to Atticus.
I think he pushed the ball over the top of the middle there, and Atticus having to take it with his left hand.
Wood goes off speed again. Reverse set for Stoev, and he has to tip it over. Schottenheim gets there, but puts it over on first touch. But the overpass, both teams are peeling, and it's going to be given to the Rebels.
Let's watch this again. And
it's a huge dig by Schottenheimer to get there. Kind of the ball went over. It wasn't really his zone to play. Both teams talking it over, but referees had clearly already conferred, so Essex back to within 1. Cross court, dug out by Fraser, block this time as Ivanov tried to go on first touch, and into the net.
Blocking wall there. Thomas Jefferson with a great block. What you'll see is that the pass from Polonia there was drifting way too much to position 2, and we want that ball into more 2.5, 3. So just jammed up the setter, making the set very obvious where it was going.
So Andrew Wood back. Polonia going to be able to keep this in, but it's a free ball to Essex, which Wood will come get. Fraser back set. Vom Steeg can't put a full swing on it. Good job by Atticus as a second blocker. Off speed Stoev, and
again he's showing his experience. He knows that the libro's not on for Essex, so what does he do? Just roll the ball over the top of the blocker, knowing that Wood defense not the strongest part of his game. Just a really clever play by Stoev.
Stoev finding Ragland. Ragland will put the swing up, goes down the line.
What a set. That set was put on an absolute plate for Ragland, allowing him to hit the ball down the line. Great shot.
And it's interesting because Polonia gave the line, but couldn't quite dig it out. As Vom Steeg, the lefty, gets it up. Fraser has to tip it over. Both teams scrambling right now. Cross court, hits the line. Great angle.
Scrappy rally. but Polonia just tidied it up. Ball back out to their on-fire hitter.
As Jefferson getting a talking to by the official, probably for the appeal, but that ball quite clearly in. Again, Ragland on serve receive, pipe attack, no touch. And Polonia with back-to-back points take a 2-point lead midway through set number 2. Reminder, Polonia winning the opening set 25-22 here in Kettering. Final 4 weekend. Winner will take on Durham or Mallow Eagles as those semi-finals upcoming. As Ragland gets the kill, Ben TT got a partial deflection on it, but couldn't quite find a Polonia backcourt player to keep the point alive.
Ragland's great. If you look at Ragland's footwork when he's hitting out through 4, he really turns and faces into cross court because he had one blocker against him.
And this time, again, a service error into the middle of the net. And that's probably the disappointing thing for Essex. It's not the service error, but it's service error that's never got a chance. You don't mind if it hits the top of the net, but we've seen 3 or 4 just halfway up.
Yeah, we often refer to that like a bad miss, like, or a good miss, sorry. Like, you know, if it's just missed or just clipping the net.
Schottenheim able to get to the serve. He'll be set. Scramble between Stove and Ivanov. But free ball for Essex. Fraser goes for the kill. Great read by Ewan Fraser. No middle attack.
He was really clever there, because if you just watch back, he sees Mills goes a little bit too early, just cheats a little bit on his blocking position, and then puts the ball over on the second touch. Great play.
45 kills in the season for Fraser, so 2.5 a game. As Polonia go middle and Mills makes no mistake.
An absolute middle hitting masterclass there by Mills. Up nice and high, running directly at the setter, and then turning the ball back to position 5.
Beautiful set by Tamburini as well. Put it perfectly where his middle needed it. As going to be a backcourt set. Off the triple block goes. Really nice precision by Schottenheimer to find the gap.
And that's what being an outside player at this level is all about, you know. Getting a high ball dug out to you, can you do something with it? Can you put the ball and put some pressure on? And he did very, very well there.
As Mills again, this time Wood gets his hand to it. Essex will have a bit of an overset, but able to play it. And now Ragland having to play defense. Vom Steeg, cross court, tied at 11.
Yeah, it's interesting because the defense of Polonia know that he can hit the ball nice and deep, nice and acute with the angle. But for me, they're just sort of a bit guilty of being sucked into the middle of the court. And maybe if they stay on the outside of the perimeter, they would have a better chance of playing some defense. Yeah,
you really want to give Vom Steeg some options. He's gone cross court to that 3 to 5 meter spot a lot, and this time gets the block. It's interesting, that time, first time we've not seen Essex really go tight on the double. This time a bit of separation, and again it just challenges the hit to try and find a smaller seam. As Fraser back to serve, goes down the line. Off speed, good tip by Wood. Gives Fraser a chance, and Vom Steeg not going to have a jump at it, but a good swing off the block. As again, Essex trying to go middle, but Wood again, big hand. And this time, the block not successful by Polonia, and Essex starting to string some points together. They lead by 2. And head coach Gregorz Niski going to call his first time out, trailing at 13 points to 11.
That's two really good hits there from the Essex number 17, Thomas Schottenham. He's swinging really high. He knows when it's time. You know, we've seen him at the back. We've seen him at hitting a pipe ball, and we know he can hit the ball down. But the last 2 sets he's been given, he's made the choice to swing high, take on the hands of Polonia, and that's really impressive as a 4 player.
Yeah, and obviously the huge vertical really helping, but just the ability for him to have that time to make that split-second decision. And Alex Porter's going to be delighted with how smart his hitters have been hitting, finding angles, finding seams, and just giving that recognition time to really take advantage of Fraser, who's done a wonderful job with his decision-making.
Yeah, I think Fraser's distributed the ball really well in this set.
This time the service error out of the timeout by Fraser. And if anything, you can kind of say that's the weakness in his game, is the 3-to-1 error ratio to aces on his serves. He goes off speed a lot, but doesn't quite get that one. As ball off the top of the net, well played by the Essex defense.
He's having a great game, great game. Another really, really sensible decision. You know, the setter did a good job there with a tricky pass in. Sticking the ball now nice and high. Let's see what he's got now from the service line.
Again, going middle. Kind of a theme, and this time Stoev pushes it wide, trying to go down the line against the block.
He knew it was coming. Fraser was almost on outside of the court there on his defense position because he knew Stoev was going to hit that ball down the line. This time just missed.
And again, going middle and can't quite pull it off, and that's the high risk, high reward that Essex want, is trying to attack this Polonia serve receive, but the errors of just not being able to string 2 or 3 good serves together is really hurting Essex's chance for big momentum shifts, as Vom Steeg has to play it, and free ball given up by Ragland. Stoev into the block by Woods.
Absolute monster block there. Let's watch that again.
In fact, it was Vom Steeg's left hand got to it. I thought it was Wood initially, but you can see on the replay.
Just shows the importance of finishing back into court with your blocking. Great block.
Complete misplay by Polonia. Free ball, Essex leading by 3 points down the pipe. Tries to go off speed over the block. As Fraser's going to get there right at the 3-meter line. Touch. Found by Ragland.
Essex have found something here. They've got some rhythm in their game. They're playing confidently. It just shows, you know, defense then. The ball wasn't perfect, but they stuck a ball out to 4, swinging nice and high, and come away with the point.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Essex trying to go as Ivanov misplays it, gets the ace, does Andrew Wood, and Polonia unraveling in set number 2, trailing 13 points to 18, having taken a 4-0 lead.
Using his second timeout, I think. Is that correct? Yeah, using his second timeout. So it'd be interesting to see what happens now as we come back onto court. But Essex seem to have found their rhythm. They're playing some good defense, putting the ball up into the middle of the court, making it playable. And Fraser's, like you said, Fraser's really distributing the ball well around the court. Polonia look a little bit sort of caught here. They look a little bit panicked. Had a couple of bad passes. And
it's interesting, Carl Vom Steeg getting treatment in that timeout. A little bit of a massage gun, and maybe it's a little bit precautionary, because Essex thinking, well, this is definitely going to 4. We know both these teams can take it to 5, so trying to get ahead of any potential issues. As Jefferson again speaking to the officials out of a timeout. One of Essex were a little bit slow, and it'll be Andrew Wood. The middle back to serve again. Does a good job keeping the ball in place. Serve success rate of 93%, off speed into the block. Again, Essex setting up double, and the ball finds the back corner. Beautiful placement, and a much needed point by IBB Polonia.
Yeah, and I think, like we said in the first set, we had Bentiti was so effective. He hasn't had as many opportunities in this set, but as we see him now at position 3, it'd be interesting to see if he gets a lot more ball.
Essex go quick, but able to get a second swing. Vom Steeg down the line, well handled, nearly a perfect play by Ivanov in libero, but Polonia scramble not quite there.
I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some substitutions from Polonia now, using both their timeouts. The coach might start to think about some changes just to slow down and break up the speed and tempo of the game.
I'm really surprised we haven't seen Andre Maggio yet for Polonia. Had some success against Essex as well, as off speed, well dug out by Fraser. But Vom Steeg gonna have to push with angle. Full set of options off the block. Great job by Jefferson to get there to help out Ragland. Like this time, solo block finished by Bentiti.
Bentiti wasn't happy with the first set and was telling his setter higher, higher, higher. Then he got the second one and it was a bit in court. It wasn't quite again. But the setter making that choice to go back to him on the third time and he putting the ball away. What I really like then is you see how much he was working when he didn't have the ball. He was constantly off the net, being an option all the time. Great setting, and let's see what he can do now.
Misplayed serve by Ragland, so 3-ball Polonia. Big point this. Off the block, down the line again, and Bentiti, just as you said, big points, that's where Polonia will go.
Essex will want to keep this lead. They've got a 3-point lead at the moment, so Coach Porter probably considering a timeout any time.
Yeah, I think if Polonia win this point on serve, maybe that's the time to do it. As Ragland, much better serve receive. Speed to Jefferson. Great read by Fraser.
We are seeing a great display of middle hitting here from both teams. Ephraim Mills from Polonia, and then that put away by Jefferson, just running that second sort of B tempo ball.
And the serving error by the Rebels again.
And if you notice then, Ragland just looked at his coach and shook his head and said, next time I'm going to go with a float, coach.
And here come the changes for Polonia. So setter change with Pearson Stiller, the Canadian, coming in. And then in comes Andre Maggio. We said we thought we might see him, but it's really interesting. Pearson Stiller, one of the weakest servers in the league. And if you base it on server rating, 1.41, error 25% of the time, so high risk, high reward, and there's the issue. Into the net, off the bench, and a 3-point to Essex, moving 4 away from set number 2. So, Thomas Jefferson, the middle, back to serve. And net violation, Essex trying to press on the block. I think it stepped over the line. Don't think it was a net touch, but either way, point to Polonia. Really good adjustment.
Essex will need to adapt now to this new opposite on court. With Bentiti hitting left-handed and Maggio hitting with his right, they just need to adapt and change their blocking.
Fraser trying to find Wood, but Wood had to reach for it, couldn't put the swing he wanted on it. Ivanov splits the block. And Polonia gets back to within 2 as we have a huge timeout by Alex Porter just to try and settle the troops down, because he knows this is a must-win set from this spot. Yeah,
as we get to the sort of crunch end of the set, 19-21, Essex are leading by 2. Good decision there by Porter to take a timeout, first one of the set. He'll just want to keep this lead, side-out volleyball.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's trying to make sure that 1 point doesn't become 3 or 4. You can deal with losing 1 point in this spot, but if it starts to realise with momentum with Polonia's side, it's going to be tough to fight back in. But really, it's what can you do to slow Bentiti down in this spot? Do you take a gamble with Wood and Jefferson to kind of come off the block early down the middle?
Well, they've taken Bentiti off, haven't they? So Maggio now in that opposite hitting. I think they just need to adapt to this new opposite.
Indeed, Mike, good spot. Vom Steeg into the block. He's going to have another go, but this time from beyond the 3-meter line.
Free ball here.
Essex fully in system, cross court, off the block, nearly handled by Stiller, but couldn't quite get it up enough, and a huge point for the Rebels.
That is a huge point for the Rebels. Making it 22-19 now to Essex, with Fraser back to the service line. Strong rotation now for Essex with their setter backcourt. Great defence.
Fraser's going to be able to set as well. Off the block, and it loops in. Huge play, Essex Rebels.
And you just see that Wood there giving his libero token of appreciation, thanking him for that defence.
Yeah, Mills was just a little bit late over to close the seam. So Essex 2 points away from tying us at 1 set apiece. Magia goes line again, a huge block. Vom Steeg off pace, great defense by both teams, and the block
that is
kills
a huge
it.
block. What a wall there created by the middle and the opposite player.
Yeah, and Vom Steeg, I believe that's block number 4 in this set. He is dominating on the defensive end, and Essex have 5 set points. Even off speed, Vom Steeg again with the block. He's going to drop onto the Essex side, out of court, and we are tied 1 set apiece here. And what resilience by Essex, who trailed 4 points to 0 in set number 2 and finish it to 19.
Yeah, I think Polonia tried to make a few changes there. I'm not sure they were effective. As a coach, when you make substitutions, you want the subs to come on and make a difference, and didn't feel that had the effect there for Polonia. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to Ben Titi playing at opposite, where he was so effective in set 1. Essex were just a different team than in the first set. They were really solid. Great, as you say, great setting distribution by Fraser, keeping the Polonia block guessing.
Indeed, and really, Polonia, with the experience, won't be rattled, but they do need to make some adjustments, because Essex have done a really good job distributing the ball wide, finding ways to get solo blocks, but really they've started to read the setters, and that's why maybe we saw the setter change for Essex, because it became a little bit too predictable by Tamburini. So be interesting to see if they get Stiller into a full rotation to settle him down.
The atmosphere here is really picking up, isn't it, as we get into this 3rd set.
And I think, again, obviously, you always want a distribution of teams, but in a way, having all the teams here supporting each other, so side out women, Essex women have both played, they're going to stay in support because the men are straight after. Both sets of Mallory and Durham teams already here as well. They'll support each other. And it's a really nice change having a Final Four weekend, because we've seen in times past, especially with the men, the league's been won by late January, early February.
Yeah, I think it's a really good concept that we've got here in this country. I think it just creates something different, something more exciting. And if you've never made the trip up to Kettering and you're watching the stream from home, I'd urge you all to make a trip up here at some point to come and watch volleyball at the top level in this country. We are blessed with 8 amazing matches this weekend.
Indeed, and I think the thing is, if you can make it tomorrow, of course, 3rd, 4th place games and the finals are 4 full games, but if not, back in October we will be in Volleyball England Super League. And obviously as well, not just action here, action down on the south coast in Ashcombe. Huge weekend down there, promotion playoffs.
Yeah.
Seasons on the line all weekend long, so keep an eye on all the streams that are going from both Ashcombe and here in Kettering. As set number 3, both teams starting to appear on court. And it'll be interesting to see who Polonia come out with. And it is the same group that opened set 1 and set 2. So just a very brief break for Ben Titi. Very brief break for Tamburini. But you do wonder, if Essex start hot here, how quickly do Gregors, Naziski and Stoev go to the bench?
I think even sometimes just giving your setter and your opposite a couple of points off, get them, regain the momentum, and here we go.
As an ace by Mills to start. And as much as it's a couple of points off, it's a couple of points to watch habits. It's so much easier from a playing and coaching perspective to have those few points to really just stand and watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Mills again with this really strong cross-court float serve.
This time, steps on the line. Didn't matter because the serve wasn't over the net either. So double violation by Mills, and he'll head to the bench.
It's definitely the curse of the commentator. That's twice now I've said serving, complimented the serving, and then there's been an error.
Ah, you're learning well. As Tamburini reverse set, finds Bentiti, and Fraser saying there's so much movement on the ball, he can't handle it.
Yeah, Bentiti is, you know, hitting the ball so sweet. Really good contact point, nice and high. And even though the defence was there, they just couldn't handle it because of the pace on the ball.
Backcourt, no luck.
Another monster block there by Stoyev.
Solo block, read it to perfection. Shooting Timon. So frequent in the Essex attack. And Stoyev able to sit on it as Tamburini goes along. As high risk, high reward ends in failure again into the net. But the idea is right, but again, he's just not made that adjustment. There's so many, he's not really served long at any point today. Everything's been into the net.
Just shows how crucial the toss is in a jump serve. That toss, he was sort of chasing the ball from the toss.
So Stoyev float serve. Wood does good job reacting to it, but complete misplay. Ball just about over legally. Set down the pipe.
First we've seen of that from Polonia. First time they've set that pipe ball. We were saying, weren't we, in the second set, that Essex were that more creative with their offence, and maybe that's what the coach has said to them in this turnaround in between sets. We need to distribute the ball a bit more. We need to be a bit more creative with our offence, and that was the first pipe we've seen from Polonia, and a success.
Great pass by Ianu. Down the middle, good job by Stoyev, even off to close the gap. And free ball, but well given, and Essex have to scramble it over. Sets down the middle, and a great kill by Atticus, who's been quiet so far, but he makes no mistake.
Slightly strange decision there by the Polonia libero, Ivanov. You know, just probably should have dug that ball wide and given the opposite a chance for a swing.
As the ball's short, so Atticus able to get their help on the block, but Essex get another go. This time Atticus finishes the block, and Polonia come out firing in set number 3. And Alex Porter's going to talk it over, down 7 points to 2.
Yeah, Fraser didn't quite get that ball out wide enough for the hitter, making it a bit easy for the Polonia blockers. Just shows the importance of footwork when you're setting. You know, these setters make it look easy, and if you're maybe new to volleyball or you've only just started playing, it's so important when you're a setter to really get your feet to the ball, then your hands. You know, and some of these, if you watch these setters, they're making it look very easy, both of them. But on that last set there from Fraser, just not quite pushing it out wide enough to the aerial, making it very easy for the Polonia blockers.
And that's the thing, if you want to be wrong on a set, you almost want to overset it, just because that's more distance for the middles to cover. That time, really easy, and a big swing in blocking. We saw Essex dominate set 2 at the net. Now it's Polonia's turn to really get settled in as Stoyev goes high and loopy. Backcourt into the block by Muller. And Von Steeg's just not seeing a lot of the ball early on in set 3.
It's a clever serving strategy. I said this at the start of this set. Stoyev is purposely serving short at position 1 to try and keep the opposite quiet, not letting the setter set that opposite, that heavy left-handed opposite hitter that he wants to go to.
Vom Steeg, cross court, right at Ben TT, but over. Correction, and Essex again short, couldn't quite get there. Was Ragland, and Ben TT into the block.
Again, it was another set by Fraser, not quite wide enough.
And coach Alex Porter wants to make a change. Ragland will head to the bench, my apologies, and into the first time today, wearing number 1, Ben Osborne, back in Kettering for the second weekend in a row. Last weekend, fell to defeat in a sitting volleyball Grand Prix final. Part of the GB sitting therapy team as Stoev goes long on the serve, but great job to see Ben Osborne double up, and he'll have a chance to impact this game from the outside spot.
We won't talk about his yellow card in the sitting final.
What yellow card? As off the block goes Atticus, and he's really grown into set number 3. It's amazing what one swing and one kill can sometimes do, just to give you some rhythm and some confidence.
Yeah, definitely, and I think Polonia are using their middle a little bit more.
Fraser, huge set from Steek, off the top of the net, not off the block, and that goes along on the cross court.
Great pass in then from Ben Osborne, coming onto court, not playing so far in the first 2 sets, and put a really solid pull in. Platform was away from his body, nice read of the ball, great pass.
This time well above. He's going to have a miraculous attempt, and the ball clips the antennae, nearly impossible from Osborne, the way speed and angle he was going at. And it's not quite set over, but we are not far away. As, again, another change by Alex Porter. Max Norton Steele, the opposite, will head in for Vom Steeg. And actually, that might be the conceding of the set. You know what? Let's rest and think about set number 4.
Yeah, 12-3, big lead here from Polonia. Huge swing from Ben Osborne. What a great shot. First opportunity he's had at the net. Left the smallest piece of line and he's gone for it. A confident shot there for his first set. Welcome to the game.
Yeah, and Osborne's really one of those risk-reward hitters. He's really high on his errors, but if he pulls it off, he's going to get kills. And maybe that's just what Essex need at this point. As Muller with the receive, middle block, but Polonia will have a second chance. Ben TT has to roll it over the top of the block, gets a little touch, and the ball well out of the reach of Ianu.
He's such a good volleyball player, making the right decisions at the right time. Goes back to the service line now with that left-handed jump serve.
Fraser has to go underhand dig, and Jefferson can really only hope it over the net, but the ball kind of clipped the net cord at the perfect angle for Polonia. And Essex can't keep the ball alive, and Alex Porter, indeed down double digits, is going to talk it over.
What a change from the previous set.
And you've got to credit the experience of Polonia.
Yeah.
That's where they don't get rattled by little mistakes.
Yeah.
And they've just got time to regroup, talk, and they know they've got options. They know they've got diversity, and it's about, for them, it's just about going back to where they had success in set 1.
You know, when we talk about Polonia, we look at some of their technical ability. They're just so solid in all aspects of the game. Sometimes not playing the most creative volleyball and going back, but there's no need sometimes. Keep things simple, play high, and Polonia are reaping the benefits of this now, winning 14-4 in this semi-final.
Set number 3 here in Essex, and reminder of those of you just joining us, we are tied 1 set apiece, so we will have 4 sets, but can we get 5 for the 3rd time this season? Well, we
Wow.
will if that serve happens. Continue. Ben TT halfway up the bleachers, and the Mallory men's team enjoying that one, giving a little stick to someone they know so well. In
He
the
is
Mano
human.
Ben TT. And so is Osborne, as that serve barely makes it to the net, trying to go off-speed float. And these are the points. Again, Essex serving errors just creeping in at the wrong times. They need to be able to string 3-4 points together, never quite can. Fraser goes middle, Jefferson into the block.
They were almost waiting for him. They were sort of ready for it. They knew it was coming. Essex haven't had many good passes or many opportunities to run the middle this set, and Stoyev was just sat waiting for it. Pinch block and putting that ball away.
It'd be interesting to see if Polonia go to a bench at any point, just to get a couple of players warm and just give them some momentum, because it can be so hard in set 4 and 5 to come off the bench stone cold. This time off the top of the net goes Norton Steele, and Ben TT from the back court. And Polonia win the point, and that's a backbreaker for Essex.
Yeah, they're almost trying too hard now.
And this time a better angle by Shutterton to find the block of Mills. Mills trying to close the cross-court angle off, but she couldn't quite direct it down enough.
And let's take a moment just to appreciate how good Fraser's setting is. You watch the ball come out of his hands, the design of the ball, you can just see how clean it comes out of his hands.
Piper tap for Muller, but he couldn't quite get there, and Wood finishes, splitting Ben TT and Muller. And Jefferson sprints back to the service line, wondering if that's the changes, get back, get the next point started, and just try and rattle off 2 or 3 when it feels like you've only played 2 points. Can you get a third point in and just swing this momentum? Middle set, Mills straight to Jefferson, fight at the net, and Essex going to go down to Wood again, and there's your back-to-back points, and again Jefferson wanting the ball and trying to get on with it.
Again, really sort of impressed by Fraser's distribution there. He knows that he's just won a point in the middle, and he's not afraid to go back.
Stoyev into the block, but Polonia going to recycle. Really, Mills wasn't really looking for it. Fraser down, Wood try to kill it again, but he'll have a second opportunity, longer set. And this rally continues. Great dig by Norton Steele. Ben TT from the back line. Looks like it was going long, but Essex keep it alive. Great swing
Fraser.
by the setter Fraser. Ball will bounce in the way of Polonia. Mills off the block. Rally of the game.
Oh.
And the overset ends it.
What a rally.
And what a disappointing way for the set, the point of the day to end.
The fans love that rally here. Just some confusion between the setter and the hitter.
As Tai Yat-Chu will check in for his first action of the day. Someone that started in small spells for Polonia, and someone that has really grown through this season, kind of gaining more and more court time. And he's had a couple of big games. Best serve receiver on the team at 2.37 out of 3, which is really tough to do. Someone that still struggling on the service end, but defensively he's done a good job as Mills goes along with the serve. And after a long rally like that, both teams probably happy for a little bit more of a breather.
Yeah.
As the serve goes long, and can see the annoyance from the Essex side.
It is such a balance at this level with our service strategy, you know. You can't afford to give a really easy serve, but there has been a lot of service mistakes from this Essex team.
Fraser trying to go down the pipe. Wood sold it well, but again, not quite the direction on it, and Essex back row just leaning to it. As Norton still forgot we're playing multi-ball system and rolled the ball straight down the middle of the court. And Tamburini, the setter, back to serve. Cross court into the block goes Norton still, and he'll get the kill. As we're kind of just going through the motions in set number 3. Everyone just taking a breather before Essex are going to try and make a huge stand in set number 4. They do not want their season to end today.
Yeah, Polonia did the hard work at the start of this set.
And
the ref just deciding there that the Essex team blocks the set.
As yeah, changes both ways. So Maggio back into the game and wearing number 9. So Ben TT will get break, and a change in middle as well, as Stiller will come on. Oh, sorry, it was Tamburini. It came off as well. So yes, change its setter, as Pearson Stiller will get a few points here, with Essex just 4 points away from set number 3. Good.
Good swing by Osborne again.
Yeah, it's important for Essex just to get some confidence now. If you can, you're not going to win this set, but if you can get to 16, 17, 18 points, maybe a little bit of that momentum will shift in your favour towards set number 4. Obviously, Polonia have started all 3 sets relatively well, so that'll be a big talking point as overset. Maggio can't put a good swing on it, and backcourt swing by Norton Steele as Maggio beats the block. Huge hit over Osborne.
I think it's a really good variety that Polonia have got, having a left-handed opposite and then a right-handed opposite. Just means that when they change it, it gives the opposition team something different to look at, something different for their blocking lines.
As Norton Steele into the block, can't quite handle it, and Max Norton Steele coming on and providing a little bit of a spark for the Rebels. Good
Interesting there, the middle for Essex ran that B ball. Osborne was going to run inside, and then the setter set out to opposite. So again, I feel like Essex are being quite creative with their offense, which Coach Porter said was going to be key to this game.
Yachu handled the serve well off the pass, and good finish by Polonia, and they move to within 2 points of set number 3 here on a busy day of action in Kettering. Final 4s. We've already had one semi-final. This is semi-final number 2, as Maggio just goes a little bit long, and up next we'll get the double header reverse, being Mallory Eagles UEL versus Durham Palatinate in both the women and the men. As we can see, the Mallory Eagles UEL girls just to our behind us starting to stretch out. Head of that game as the block by Fraser, and it'll be a free ball for the Rebels, and Jefferson pushes it wide, and 11 set points will roll into the favour of IBB.
Letting that middle ball drift over him a little bit means he sort of pushed the ball too much, just missing the sideline.
Muller with the serve responsibility. Backcourt by Norton Steele, goes down the line, even up, cannot get there.
Bit of a mismatch there in hitting against blocking, Norton Steele being a two opposite player.
So Thomas Jefferson back to serve, misplay, and the ace by Jefferson.
Great serve there, because what if you didn't notice, he served the ball into a seam. That makes it really hard for the passing unit.
Yeah, you can see the Polonia back row just talking it over. He tries to go cross court, big error to end the set, and Polonia dominate, take it 25-15, and we'll take a 2-1 lead here in the National Volleyball Centre in Kettering. So 25-22, 19-25, and then 25-15, and IBB Polonia look to advance to 17-1. And the interesting stat in that set, big thanks to Jess Smith, our third commentator this weekend, working the stats in front of us. 5 blocks in that set. Every single one of them was by Polonia. So Essex Rebels, who had so many blocks in set number 2, can't quite convert on that end in set 3, and you've got to turn it on. In style. And really Essex, for me, looking at it, the serve receive just a little bit imbalanced, and that'll be something Alex Porter will talking to his back line about. Really trying to get some of the players in. Obviously, Vomsteeg and Ragland both had the back end of set number 3 off, so they'll be well rested for set number 4. And reminder, get your thoughts in on the comment section. We'll have a look at some of them. Great to see some of you in the chat. A couple of former Polonia players in there.
The women will take back to the court in the semi-final 2, where we got Durham taking on Mallory's, where they will be taking on hopefully a spot and looking for a spot in that final tomorrow up against Team Side Out London.
As Luke Wiltshire just rejoins me, having a quick break. Obviously a busy day for all of us on comms, Luke. And one thing I was talking about while you were away is the serve receive from Essex, but they've lost the dominance at the net. Not a single block in that set, and how much of a concern would that be?
Yeah, they sort of just to drift away from that set. I think there's errors came in, the service errors came in. Passing wasn't quite as good as it was for them in that second set. And like we complimented them in the second set, they were really quite creative with their offense. In that set, for me, didn't really get firing with their hits. So I think Porter will have had a word with them in the timeout, recompose. He's bringing Ragland back on. Yep, bringing Ragland back on.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to roll with your best players, even if they're not quite firing. You have to trust the people that have done it all season long for you. And obviously, if it doesn't work early in the set, yeah, then go back to your bench. And appreciate all of you watching us. 225 of you nearly on the stream. Make sure you share this out as well. See how many we can get. Reminder, 2 more games coming up as well. So appreciate all of you joining us. And reminder, the winner of this game will move to the final tomorrow.
Yeah, and absolutely. Keep sending the comments on the YouTube stream.
Hashtag Final 4 as well. The men's final will be 4:30 roughly tomorrow. Reminder, with 4 back-to-back games, we may go a little bit longer on some of them. And the 3rd, 4th place playoff will be 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. That will wrap up the indoor season. But of course, we've got the beach season about to start as well. And some of these players will be hitting the sand. Bucks Beach will be definitely an eye for Essex as well. Set number 4 is underway here at National Volleyball Centre as Ragland can't dig it onto the same side, and free ball for Polonia, and they find the gap with Mills, who's done a really good job just finding angles. Rather than hitting for power as he was early in this game, he's gone a little bit less pace, but a little bit more accuracy.
He's a very intelligent middle play, never swings straight, always takes on an angle, which is what we teach middles.
Better by Essex, but the ball finds Mills, and it'll be a free ball for the Rebels. Fraser backcourt, Ragland gets himself off the mark in set number 4.
Yeah, again, I said that creativity that Essex have, middle running behind, opening up that pipe option.
And Essex has had so much success when they've had all 4 options.
Yeah, and again, it's that how fundamental the passing and defence is in this sport.
Stoev, who was quiet in spells in set number 3, can't get the kill. But no mistake by Schuttenham.
His hang time up there is something else. He just sort of stays there, looks around at where the gaps are in the court. His jump is phenomenal, makes him the player that he is.
And big finish by Bentiti, splitting the block. And that's where Essex are kind of just faded, and you see it as a perfect example where it just can't quite finish it, whereas set number 1 and in particular set number 2, that's where they had the success.
Yeah, and again, let's just appreciate the setting on display. Tamburini just flinging that ball all the way from 4 out back to opposite.
Vom Steeg played for the touch to keep the point alive. Big set, big block.
Monster block again. Fraser maybe forcing that a little bit. Châteaumain not in his natural position there at opposite. Just tried too hard, hit the ball so hard that when it got on that block, it was a huge block.
And Wood this time rejected, but again, missed set by Fraser. Vom Steeg able to cut it away off the top of the block, but violation as well by the Rebels. So Bologna take a 2-point lead, and Essex is passing just not quite where they need it to be against such a dangerous side.
Just try and get that ball back into zone 1. Get the ball up into the middle of the court, allow the setter to get his hands on the ball and have at least 2 or 3 options.
And again, miscommunication. But Wood this time able to get his hands to it, off speed, great dig. And tries to play it off the block, but Stoev reads it to a T. And kills with authority. Raglan, no hope to keep that point alive. And Polonia starting the set well again. Alex Porter timeout, down 3.
Momentum's so important in this sport. Polonia have come out here in this 4th set with a really strong start again, and Essex are chasing. Porter deciding, you know, I don't want to give it any more opportunities, any more chances. Let's try and catch up now. As the players come back onto court in this 4th set of this Super League semi-final.
And again, Essex won't be faced in this spot. They've been down 2 sets to 1 before. They've been trailing in the 2nd set. Reminder, 5-2 is better than 4-0. That's what happened in set 2. But what it is crucial is to find a side out right now. You don't want the lead to be more than 3. As again,
Missed
they go.
it.
This time he, again, can't quite make the kill.
Well, this rotation for Essex is proving to be quite tricky. They've got their opposite out at 4 and their 4-player out opposite for this first ball.
Nice steady pass. Vom Steeg finally gets himself involved, and it's been a long time coming for the Rebels since we've seen one of these left-handed monster spikes.
Just a really, really impressive hit there. Mills couldn't quite get there in time, but still managed to take away some space.
And the serve nearly finds the back corner, but not quite for the Rebels. But much better adjustment that time. Rather than going into net, pushing that back corner, and if that had just dropped a tiny little bit more, that would have been off the tee and a perfect ace. Cross court for Raglan, goes down the line.
Managed to keep himself from falling over and getting a net touch. Set was quite tight. Didn't really have any other option but to hit the ball there, but he's done well.
So Andrew Wood, again, really solid server, not going to do a lot with it. but going to make sure balls are in play. And a violation on the Rebels again. Jefferson trying to set up for the block, but couldn't quite get his feet down on the right side.
Just as we look at Odicus going back to the service line, Carol Gordon and Jefferson Williams just behind them from the Mallory coaching team, observing and watching, because they know they're going to have to play. If they're successful in their semi-final, they'll have to play the winner of this match.
Lovely back set. Vom Stee gets the one-on-one he wants, and off the hands of Muller and Long. But Rebels with the point as they try and claw themselves in, as we'll get the court turnover. The one thing we've not been able to notice with the libero all the way at the opposite end and number on the back, interesting, the IBB Polonia did make a change in that set. Felipe Rodriguez, the Brazilian, came into the game, 28 sets on the year. Terrific serve receiver. 0 errors on serve receive this year.
Be interested to see if they're going to play the 2 libero system or they're just going to stay with him for this set.
But the other thing is with double header as well, can you sneak someone just a little bit of time off? These teams will have to bounce back no matter how this game unfolds tomorrow. So can you have that rotation as Vom Stee into the net, looks to the heavens, disappointed with himself. Back set, Fraser, Vom Stee goes cross court, but Tamburini able to get there, but Polonia out of system. Ragland into the block.
Set was very high there because they were out of system. Ragland had 2 big blockers up against him. Ball was set off the net, so making it very difficult to put a roll shot in. Cover wasn't behind him, so just shows the importance of cover in this game.
As Polonia get the tip, but not quite the rotation. And Essex again hanging around, but now you need someone like Ragland, one of your big name players, to find 2 or 3 points if you can on serve, to claw them back into it, as Mills has to avoid the block. Good defense by the backcourt, and a huge backcourt swing. Ben TT makes no mistake with authority on the cross court.
Being that left-hander, he doesn't have to get out as wide on the opposite ball, and he just run in nice and flat, hitting a really hard, powerful cross-court shot. Interesting then as well, Ragland deciding to go with a jump float serve after some unsuccessful attempts at the service line on a jump serve.
Essex trying to go middle. They've not really had success with that since set number 1. And the ball will go onto the back line. They're going to say tip, but the line judge to our back left called it in as well. Export wanted it, but then they saw the tip and can't argue a tip.
Yeah. The ref saw a touch as well, I think. So.
Yeah, I think. And 12 points to 6, Polonia lead. They are closing in on a finals appearance, as this time Essex finally able to get it to go.
I think Chatemé likes that quicker speed set. He's up there. When Essex get that ball in, Fraser's got some great setting distribution and makes some really good choices. Oh, rare mistake there. Rare mistake by the libero. Curse of the commentator there for you.
Is that his first
error
all season? That is 100% on me. Can't take any other credit. Not the players' fault, always the commentators when we pull out stats like that here at the Volleyball England Final Fours. As Essex again going. And what they've done is started to overfeed, if anything, but Schuttentheim wants the ball and is starting to find success on the killers. Jefferson goes long on the float serve, and again, a huge service error by Essex. I think that's error number 5 on serve in this set. As a few of you after that wanting George Ivanov, the starting libero in set number 1, 2 and 3 for Polonia, onto the court as the touch found by Ragland off the block. And again, that backcourt pipe has kind of had some success for the Rebels.
Yeah, they're definitely using it and choosing it as an option here, more so than Polonia are.
As they go middle, Wood gets it down on Atticus. Really smart play by Wood, who's had his moments and really come up big for the Essex front line, and they now down just 2.
Targeting Stoyev here.
Again, the ball moves away to his right, backcourt, Bentiti goes off speed, but a net touch called.
Yeah, and he's very disappointed because he knows that was a huge point. He read it really well, but he just reaching too far and touching the top of that net.
But they're the errors you can live with, because if you don't touch the net, you win the point. As the serve by Tamburini, internet, rare service error by him. He's done a pretty good job today from the service line, the Italian setter.
Essex closing it now to just a 2-point lead that Polonia have.
Yeah, but this is where Schutaiman needs to get the ball in play. Maybe take a little bit off it, make Polonia work.
Oh.
Rodriguez handles it well. And Essex will have a chance. Vom Steeg opposite into the chest.
When Essex get that ball in, giving Fraser the opportunity to distribute where he likes, having Ragland out front court now, and Vom Steeg at the opposite, just keeps the Polonia blocking guessing.
But what you can't do is make the error on the second serve, and again, that's where Essex have really struggled. One serve you can get away with, but you need to be able to string together multiple, and that's what this Rebels team have really let themselves down on today. It'll be a big regret if they do fall here to IBB Polonia in the semi-final. As Ragland finds the block of Bentiti, but can't direct it down. The ball did not come through. The referees just communicating with each other. The ball came down on the Polonia side of the net. Yeah. So point to the Rebels.
And again, really, really poignant that these referees using this communication, using the headsets, which are really helping the game.
Wood cross court. Block by Vom Steeg, and we are tied at 15.
Well read there by Von Steeg. Hands up, ready for that middle. We call that just like a little pulse block. Can't drop the hands and really commit to it, but taking away that middle option.
Oh. Big dig by, I think Fraser got his hand to it. Vom Steeg off the top of the block. Essex Rebels lead.
And their substitution, their sub-bench, really pleased with their team for that point. Turning what was a 3 or 4 point deficit now, they're 1 point ahead in this fourth set.
As the Essex bench get a warning for crossing onto the playing service. The line obviously extended beyond the edge of the advertising boards. As the court again just getting dry, we want to make sure the players stay safe, get the grip they need. We don't want to play slipping at a crucial time. And there is the timeout by IBB Polonia and head coach Grigor Niski. What do you think he'll be talking about? What have you seen from Essex's front court that has adjusted and allowed their blocking to start to become a prominent effect again?
I think again is what we've been saying all as this game progresses, is that Essex are now running their offense. And Essex just didn't do that in the last set. Essex are now running their offense. They've got some really good wide players. They've established the middle nice and early on in this set. And it's making that offense much more effective for the Essex team.
And they'll talk it over. As we have a result from the playoff in the Women's Super League. London Lionhearts pull off the escape. They were looking at midway through the season like they were going to be dead and buried, but some big results down the stretch, and they stay in the Super League with a win down in Ashcombe. We'll talk about more with that with Jess Smith over the women's coverage, but congratulations to the London Lionhearts as we turn our attention onto the men's side, as Vom Steeg again getting up on the block but couldn't quite finish. Good angle by Muller, who's kind of had a low-key game, but has been really effective in the moments his team has needed him. And we are tied 16 points apiece. Appreciate all of you joining us in the comments. We see some of you floating in, a couple of the UEL players in there as well. As Ragland plays it off the block. I think the ball was out. The officials are going to talk about it. The ball went over. Referee confirming the ball went out, so there's no touch, and the line judge going to be called for an opinion. And really smart officiating by Anna Juzgowska here to get the right call. We know it's 16 points, Paul. This is a big point.
This is a big point.
Talking it over. And the point given to Polonia. Jefferson just getting a clarification. Vom Steeg not happy, but again, they're the officials where you'd love a replay, you'd love two views, you'd love slow-mo, and the officials have to get it right the first time. They're asking so tough.
Yeah, really tough call there. Essex not agreeing with it.
I mean, I think if they'd gone against Polonia, they wouldn't have agreed either. As Ragland, good pass.
This is
Vom Steeg, single, makes no mistake, finds the back line.
That was a huge point for Essex, because if they lost that point, they would have felt a bit hard done by, because they believed the previous point was theirs. So winning that point was a huge, huge moment for them. 17-all now.
Vom Steeg, serve in play, but great pass by Polonia. Cross court, goes wide by the barest of margins.
Looked
it was
very
Ben
close.
TT on the cross court, and Essex maybe getting the 50-50 call. They didn't get 2 points to go.
Yeah, really good point.
But can Essex get a second big serve in? We know Vom Steeg's gonna go power. Well handled.
Good touch by the libero.
Ragland has to push it over. Ben TT goes into the net, and Essex lead by 2, and maybe, just maybe, at the 13th time we're asking over the last 2 weekends, we may get a 5-setter, and Polonia are going to talk it over.
Huge couple of points there for Essex. Some good service. Vom Steeg putting the last 3 serves into court, which has made a huge difference. Just testing that Polonia passing unit.
And I've just got the craziest bit of intel, and I love this Final Four format. The Durham boys in the front row, directly behind where Essex are serving and Vom Steeg, they're telling him where to serve. It's not coming from Alex Porter, it's coming from Durham.
There's such a good atmosphere here at the National Volleyball Centre in Kettering.
And I tell you what, this could backfire though. Because if Durham play Polonia tomorrow and they're finding out about this, they're not going to be happy. As much as I love what's going on, and obviously the volleyball community, really good camaraderie. Is Vom Steeg down the middle, good pass Ivanov into the block, but Polonia will have another chance. They're going to go again.
Quite clever there what he's doing into foreplay, because he's almost delaying his timing, making that blocking decision. And what you saw there was the block drifting and then getting caught up in the net, because the timing wasn't quite what they were expecting. He sort of waited and hit that ball late.
Good job by Muller to stay patient, but the serve goes long.
Confident leave.
That was a very confident leave. As the Essex bench really growing into the game, a bit more noise. Women's team at the far end behind Polonia as well, trying to push their men through as the kill by Muller. And he is starting to be a huge piece of set number 4.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm really interested by Ragland's decision to jump float there, because You know, he's one of the strongest servers in the league, with 24 aces coming into this game.
Yeah, most on the Rebels team. But again, we've seen the errors as huge swing. They wanting the touch. Essex not getting it. It was Schutaiman who was convinced there was a touch, but here come the Polonia late changes.
Yeah, double substitution here. Brave coaching decision at 20-all in the 4th set. Maybe the coach isn't...
But it's a change we've seen all 3 sets. Tamburini and Bentiti hitting the bench late on. And an accidental push of the timeout button. Reverse set, Von Steeg from the backcourt.
And a net touch as well.
Stoev net touch. Rodriguez couldn't get the ball in play either. And Essex take the narrow lead in a must-win set for the Rebels. They want to stay alive. We've seen these teams go to 5 twice. Will the 3rd time be a charm? As Jefferson goes off pace, Mills down the middle.
Massive point. Good choice to go back to the middle. Haven't seen Mills much in this set, so and we've got Ragland on the floor here. Let's just make sure.
I think him and Jefferson went for the same ball, so a little bit of a collision. As a change for Polonia, Atticus comes out of the game. And a change into the front court, in for the first time weighing 14, Olas Mačiuskas, the Latvian middle. 0 solo blocks, so not a blocking specialist, but one of the best hitters in the league. Success rate of 41% on hits, so maybe they're going to try and get him going down the middle to close out this game as Ragland overpassed, but Polonia couldn't kill it. We go back and forth around the net. Triple block setup, Von Steeg has to dig. Tough hit. And again, maybe just wanting to be a little bit too greedy rather than just getting the ball to play, trying to go for the spectacular. And Alex Porter's going to want that buzzer press, talking it over down 22-21.
Again, so much pressure on him to do something with that ball, but making that unforced error. It's tough, it's really tough at this level, but perhaps he could have just taken a bit off of it, put the ball back into the deep corner, and allow Essex to set up their defense system and their blocking system. But we're at this really crucial point in this set now, with Polonia leading by 1 at 22-21.
Indeed, and Essex, we know these teams have gone back and forth a lot. We've seen some long sets between them this year. Seen a 27-25, we've seen a 26-24.
Porter's used both his timeouts here in this 4th set, I think. So, again, let's expect the bench.
Float serve by Mills. Essex going back to their bread and butter, but he goes off speed. Referee's going to talk it over. They're going to say front court violation, I think.
The second ref is talking to the first ref now.
Still talking again. Indeed, point to Polonia. And Essex are not happy here. Happy. Mills talking to Alex Chinnery, the women's coach, Jefferson Williams, Carol Gordon from Mallory as well. Everyone waving, and again, a little bit of controversy. We saw this in the men's cup final last week down the stretch, big calls by the officials. But Polonia will win the point, and they are 2 points away from advancing to the final. Low pass, even off. Fraser digs it out. Big dig, but finished by Fraser, hits the line. And the Essex setter coming up with a huge kill.
Big, huge point here in this men's semi-final. The setter showing his hitters how he can do it. Putting the ball away.
Fraser. Reverse set. Maggio into the net. And that's the problem with feeding someone who's been quiet. Maggio only coming on late in sets, probably his second or third big swing of the day. Can't connect. and we are tied 23 points apiece.
Really impressed by Essex mentality here.
Serve mishandled, it went to the middle, he wasn't expecting it. Essex will have the free ball. Big swing, big kill. Thomas Schoenheim, set point Rebels.
And I thought Fraser was going to go to the opposite player there, but he's got this rhythm and he's got this relationship with Thomas at the moment, and he's on fire, so great decision by the setter.
Go Vom Steeg if you're Essex. That is my prediction. As Stoev, big time, and now Essex will have the chance to clinch it on the receive. Double changes coming Polonia. Who do you want to serve? Facing set point down. Oh, apologies, 24 all. So who do you want? And it's Tamburini back into serve, the
good.
setter.
Keeping the setter back court, free front court.
Got a little
options.
carried away there. But 24 points apiece. Set number 4. IBB Polonia need 2 for the 2 to advance. Essex need to force a 5th. Fraser. Vom Steeg into the block. Ben TT off the bench on the double sub.
Brings up match point for Polonia. The pass there was almost too tight at one, which made the blocking for Polonia that little bit easier. They knew the ball was going out to 4. Set was quite tight.
Does Tamburini go for broke? Most serves on this Polonia team at 19. Doesn't. Reverse set, tip over. Polonia gonna have a swing at it with Stoev off the block. IBP Polonia advance. 3 sets to 1 over the Essex Rebels.
Yeah, the Essex players, and especially Thomas, is looking very disappointed. But they can be extremely proud of themselves. They've put on a huge performance here today. And in that 4th set, I really felt Essex were there.
What a game of volleyball by the Essex Rebels. Set 3, if you throw that out of the book, that was 2 teams of high quality going back and forward. And Essex just come up a little bit short. They'll have to regroup in the 3rd, 4th playoff, but for Polonia, the veteran experience coming through, and then the right time to set your big players.
Yeah, absolutely. I think key to that is some of the experience that the Polonia squad have, knowing what to do and when to do it. But what a thrilling game. You know, as a neutral sat here at the volleyball centre, that was a great game to watch. Both teams offering something slightly different.
Gonna put you on the spot. Game MVP today. Where do you go? There's so many options.
For me, I really think Ben Titi had a great game for Polonia. He was, you know, I can't recall, the number of errors he made would be on one hand. He simply was a force at the opposite position. That being said, I felt that Fraser had a great game as well as setter for Rebels.
Yep. Just a variety of his distribution. Alex Porter wanted the hitters to be able to pick gaps, and Fraser did a good job of that, but I think I agree. Ben TT, obviously high volume, but he came through in big, big moments. So congratulations to Polonia. Final score, 25-22, 19-25, 25-15, and then 26-24. So side out, get both the men's and the women's into the final. And we'll take a break here from Kettering. Next up, Mallory Eagles, Durham Palatinate in both the men's and the women's. The women will be first up. We'll be live in about 10 minutes time for that. But that is the men's semi-final over from Luke Wiltshire, Mike Hunter-Morris. Thank you very much. We will see you later on for the second men's semi-final.